Okay, this is part 51 of Nos4a2. Boston. Lou and the kid had a room on the top floor of the Logan Airport Hilton. One night cost as much as Lou made in a week. Money he didn't have, but fuck it, that was the easiest kind to spend. And they weren't in bed that night until after Letterman. It was going on 1 a.m., and Lou thought for sure that Wayne had to be asleep. So he wasn't ready for it when the kid spoke up, voice loud in the darkness. He said just 9 words, but it was enough to make Lou's heart jump into his throat and jam there, like a mouthful of food that wouldn't go down. "This guy, Charlie Mannix," Wayne said. "Is he a big deal?" Lou thumped his fist between his big man boobs, and his heart dropped back where it belonged. Lou and his heart weren't on such great terms. His heart got so tired when he had to walk upstairs. He and Wayne had marched all over Harvard Square and the waterfront that evening, and twice he had needed to pause to get his wind back. He was telling himself that it was because he wasn't used to being at sea level, that his lungs and heart were adapted for the mountain air, but Lou was no dummy. He had not meant to get so fat. It had happened to his father, too. The guy spent the last 6 years of his life buzzing around the supermarket in one of those little golf carts for people who were too fat to stand. Lou would rather take a chainsaw to his layers of fat than climb into one of those fucking supermarket strollers. "Did Mom say something about him?" Lou asked. Wayne sighed and was briefly silent, time enough for Lou to realize he had answered the kid's question without meaning to. "No," Wayne said at last. "So where did you hear about him?" Lou asked. "There was a woman at Mom's house today, Maggie someone. She wanted to talk about Charlie Mannix, and Mom got really mad. I thought Mom was going to kick her ass." "Oh," Lou said, wondering who Maggie someone had been and how she had gotten on Vic's case. "He went to jail for killing a guy, didn't he?" "This Maggie woman who came to see your mother, did she say Mannix killed a guy?" Wayne sighed again. He rolled over in his bed to look at his father. His eyes glittered like ink spots in the dark. If I tell you I know what Mannix did, am I going to get in trouble?" he asked. "Not with me," Lou said. "Did you Google him or something?" Wayne's eyes widened, and Lou could see he hadn't even thought of Googling Charlie Mannix. He would now, though. Lou wanted to slam the heel of his hand into his forehead. Way to go, camaraderie. Way to fucking go. Fat and stupid. "The woman left a folder with some newspaper articles in it. I kind of read them. I don't think Mom would have wanted me to. You aren't going to tell her, are you?" "What articles?" "About how he died." Lou nodded, though he was beginning to get it. Lou nodded, thought he was beginning to get it. Mannix had died not 3 days after Vic's mother had passed away. Lou had heard about it the day it happened on the radio. Vic had been out of rehab only 5 months and had spent the spring watching her mother waste away. And Lou had not wanted to say anything, was afraid that it would kick the legs out from under her. He had meant to tell her, but the opportunity never presented itself, and then, at a certain point, it became impossible to bring it up. He had waited too long. Maggie someone must have found out that Vic was the girl who got away from Charlie Mannix, the only child to escape him. Maybe Maggie someone was a journalist. Maybe she was a true crime author working on a book. She had come by for a comment, and Vic had given her one, something definitely unprintable and probably gynecological. "Mannix isn't worth thinking about. He doesn't have anything to do with us." "But why would someone want to talk to Mom about him?" "You have to ask your mother that one," he said. "I really shouldn't be saying anything. If I do, I'll be the one in trouble, you know?" Maybe this was the deal. His bargain with Victoria McQueen, the one they had settled on after she knew she was pregnant and decided she wanted to have the baby. She let Lou name the kid. She told Lou she'd live with him, said she'd take care of the baby, and when the baby was sleeping, the two of them could have some fun. She said she would be a wife in all but name, but the boy was to know nothing of Charlie Mannix until she decided to tell him. At the time, Lou agreed. It all seemed reasonable enough. But he had not anticipated that this arrangement would prevent his son from knowing the single best thing about his own father, that his father had once reached past his fear for a moment of real Captain America heroism. He had pulled a beautiful girl into the back of his motorcycle and raced her away from a monster. And when the monster caught up to them and set a man on fire, Lou had been the one to put out the flames, admittedly too late to save a life. But his heart had been in the right place, and he had acted without any thought to the risk he was taking. Lou hated to think what his son knew about him instead, that he was a walking fat joke, that he made a mediocre living towing people out of snowbanks and repairing transmissions, that he had not been able to hold on to Vic. He wished he had another chance. He wished he could rescue someone else and Wayne could be watching. He would have been glad to use his big fat body to stop a bullet as long as Wayne was there to bear witness to it. Then he could bleed out in a haze of glory. Was there any human urge more pitiful or more intense than wanting another chance at something? His son heaved a sigh, tossed himself onto his back. "So, tell me about your summer," Lou asked. "What's the best part so far?" "No one was in rehab," Wayne said.